All right, UFC fight night. Sean Strickland versus Magomedov. First fight of the night, we got Jonderson Brito versus Weston Wilson. These guys are both finishers, both have a ton of submissions. Wilson has a few submission losses. Not a whole lot of tape on either guy. I think this is a grappler versus a grappler. This is probably a fight that is not going to go the distance. I'm going to lean for my early prediction, Jonderson Brito. I think he'll get it done. What do you think?
Yeah, so Brito's got the more like UFC experience. He's been in there. He's won fights against like Andre Fili. He lost a fight to Bill Algeo because he kind of gasped in that fight. Um, but yeah, I don't see this taking place too much on the feet. He submitted Lucas Alexander. So yeah, both guys have good ground games. It's who exerts the better ground game, right? So with West there, like you don't know really what you're getting. He's coming in from LFA. This should actually be a spot for Joe Anderson to roll because he does have all the experience on him. If I can quickly check Brito here, and so yeah, I think Brito like shouldn't unless he like what's it called gases. I think he should be okay. So I think this is a spot for Brito to roll, and they brought in the newcomer, but he looks good on tape. He shouldn't be a pushover. His last fight against Bobby King kind of got dominated there, but it'll be a different kind of fight with Brito, I think. But Brito should roll here.
All right, moving on. We got Yana Santos versus Carol Rosa. I don't know the odds on this, so that might change my pick, I guess. But I'm not big on Santos at all. I don't think she's very good. She did set a pretty crazy pace that caused Holly Holm to kind of, I wouldn't say panic wrestle her, but made her not want to strike with her. She took her down at ease though, and Holly Holm dominated that fight. So maybe Carol Rosa wants to take her down here. I think the play is over. I wouldn't be putting a lot of money on this fight. Again, I'm not big on Santos at all, so maybe I'll lean Rosa by well-roundedness, but I don't think it's a fight I'm going to be betting. And if I was, I'd want to see the odds. Maybe I would stab a dog if there's a big dog here. I'm going to assume the line's fairly close, but I really don't know. What do you got?
So they do have a line out minus 180 on Carol Hosa, plus 155 on Yana Kunitskaya, I still call her. So yeah, I think Carol Rosa probably will use her takedowns here to like muscle Yana around, kind of like Holly Holm did. Carol Hosa does have the ability to throw a lot of strikes. She's thrown more than 120 on 3 occasions. But when she uses her wrestling, she's also pretty dominant against Lena Landsberg, against Jocelyn Edwards, Vanessa Mello, multiple takedowns. So that last fight she lost against Norma Dumont was damn close. Anyways, both girls look gun shy, and Carol Rosa did get a knockdown. So yeah, I think she's the more well-rounded fighter. Minus 180 isn't terrible. And yeah, her takedown defense is 70%. So Yana's not taking her down. So this is all in Rosa's world. So wherever Rosa wants it, she'll win it. So I feel like Rosa is the A side on this fight.
All right, I agree. Moving on, we have kutateladze versus Elvis Brenner. This is a classic striker versus grappler. Guram has very good takedown defense, very hard to take down, very technical striking. To me, like he had that fight booked against Malarkey there a couple weeks ago that got canceled. To me, this is an easier fight for him. I mean, I think Guram cruises here. He's minus 400, which obviously no one's going to love. But if you're getting like those parlay bonuses for each leg, I think Guram's pretty damn safe here. So I got Guram all day. What do you think?
Yeah, Guram all day. If he was going to beat Malarkey, he's going to beat this guy, right? That's like simple MMA math, right? But anyway, put short and simple, this guy's not going to take him down. Elvis Brenner got real lucky against Zalgis Jumagulov. I believe that was who he fought in this first fight. I'll double check that. If this is just not the same guy, I'm looking up. Yeah, it should be Zalgis, right? So he didn't win that fight. So
It's going to get harder against Guram then.
yeah, like Guram's no easier than Zalgis, right? So I mean, he didn't win that fight, and I don't see anything that he brings to the table that warrants anything that could remotely think that Gurum's going to do anything different than he would have done to Jamie Malarkey. So, yeah, I'm going to take Gurum by destruction.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, Gurum was my lock of the card against Jamie. Obviously, it got canceled. I'd say Gurum's my lock of the card again here. So I think he's very, very, very safe. Moving on, we got a heavyweight contest. We got Alexander Romanov versus Blagoy Ivanov. Romanov is coming off that terrible performance against Volkov. He came in looking he's heavyweight. He's never going to look ripped or anything, but like he looked unusually out of shape. Like he looked like an absolute slob. Couldn't get the takedowns going at all because that's what Romanov does. Romanov likes to take you down and then he likes to pound you out or find a sub. Like he's all about getting the fight to the ground. He looked terrible against Volkov. Now, Ivanov, you're going to look at his record and go, this guy's not that good. But you know what? His record actually isn't bad. His losses are like decisions against good fighters like Derek Lewis. Like they're always close split decisions. I believe Ivanov's never been finished. I believe I can't recall him getting finished. So I was hoping the line was going to be really wide here. I was hoping everybody was going to think Romanov's going to rebound here, and I was going to stab the dog. But the line's actually very even. I'm looking at it right now. It's plus 100, so that's not enough for me to like it. I think I'm going to sit on this one for a bit because I think if Romanov wins, it's probably an over just because Ivanov's not getting finished by anyone. And Romanov, he might gas and be a slob like last fight. I don't know. If the line moves a lot, I would stab the dog, but I don't think I'm playing this at all, to be honest. What do you think?
So Blagoy is how old is he? 23 plus 4, 37 years old, 38. He's been there forever. He throws no strikes and he tries to wrestle, right? So, like, was he the guy that got stabbed at the Bulgarian nightclub and survived the stabbing to the heart? I think that might have been him. So, yeah, this guy's a fucking tough bitch. But, like, Romanov should essentially win the first two rounds, and if he tires in the third, just fucking survive, right? It's not like Blagoy's coming with some heavy artillery in that third round, right? So that's the thing, right? Like if he was up against a better power puncher, then like even Delima or something like that, like where power goes through to the third round. He beat Delima, by the way, Romanov in the first two rounds anyway. So I think he rags. He's gonna try to take him down. Can he stop the takedowns? Like we know Roman's gonna try to take him down. That's the thing, right? I'm gonna side with Romanov here because I think he wins the first two rounds, but that 70% takedown defense from Blagoy is pretty decent. So now this is on the feet. Like who has the best striking? Both these guys suck at striking.
Romanov's bad, man, on the feet.
Romanov's bad on the feet, man.
And he gasses, man. When he fades hard.
Oh, it's so bad. Against what's his name? Juan Espino. He was gonna lose that fight if he didn't fucking fake the nut shot hurt that much, right? Like that was like Aljamain Sterling-esque, that performance. But tough fight to call. I think Romanov wins the first two rounds, possibly coasts the third one, possibly loses it. But Blagoy does nothing but push up against the fucking cage, right?
But he survives, and Romanov, I don't have any faith in his gas tank. So like,
this is not top ticket material by any chance.
Yeah.
No.
You know what? Don't bet this fight, guys. Heavyweight fight. Be careful. Proceed with caution. All right, moving on. We got Kevin Lee versus Rene Fakredhinov. Kevin Lee's making his return. It's not even really that deserved, to be honest. I think his last win outside the UFC was Diego Sanchez. It's like, ooh, very impressive. Come on. You decisioned Diego fucking Sanchez. So I think Fakredhinov is going to smoke Kevin Lee personally. On paper, this appears to be a wrestler versus a wrestler. It's kind of a grappler versus a grappler. Sure, Kevin Lee hits hard. He has a couple knockouts, but by no means is he some wicked technical striker. He's not. So I like Rene's cardio, his pace, his relentlessness. This is a guy who's shooting fucking 20 takedowns a fight, man. So, and Kevin Lee gasses. So I think at some point, Fakredinov's gonna gas him out. He's gonna break Kevin Lee, and I think he's gonna win pretty easily. Actually, to be honest, I don't mind him at minus 210. I feel pretty damn confident in him. He's not someone who gets finished. He has a hell of a record, a hell of a chin, a hell of a gas tank. I really like him in this spot. And like I said, Kevin Lee, sure, he's a physical specimen, but seriously, his last fight was a decision over Diego Sanchez. Like that's not doing it for me. I'm sorry. Like I got Fakredhinov all day here. What do you think?
Well, Kevin Lee likes to exert his wrestling on a lot of guys. So like even in his losses, so it doesn't matter. His wins and losses, whatever. Like even his losses against Daniel Rodriguez, 3 takedowns. His loss against Charles De Oliveira, 2 takedowns. His loss against Rafael Dos Anjos, 6 takedowns. Gave up 4 there. Kevin Lee won a loss against De La Cuenta, 3 takedowns. So it's against Tony Ferguson, 3 takedowns. But then he can get subbed on the ground. Renat Fakredhinov has 100% takedown defense. And Kevin Lee has a 75% takedown defense. Only difference is that we've actually seen Kevin Lee get taken down and semi-controlled by a good wrestler. I would call Renat Fakredhinov a good wrestler. So, like you said, in that Charles fight, he took him down. He looked good early, but he broke. And I feel that's the same way here. His competition's been kind of like lacking. I think even Brian Battle that Fakredinov fought last time is better than a fucking aged Diego Sanchez in Eagle FC there. So, yeah, and he
I
hasn't
think Brian
fought
Battle's better than Kevin Lee, to be honest.
it from the last couple fucking fights. Yeah, I'm going to infer that you're correct on that. But like, yeah, I mean, Kevin Lee he's getting up there in the lighter weights, even at the age of what he is. I just don't think he can deal with the gas tank, like you said. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Minus 200 seems okay. Mix him up with Gurm and somebody else, and you got a pretty decent parlay going.
Yeah, like I think for Kevin Lee to win, he's gonna have to finish it early while he has that full gas tank. Because once he fades, he ain't gonna do it. And Fakredinov has never been finished. He has a lot of experience. He has never been finished. So I don't think Kevin Lee is gonna be the first to do it. I think it's a slam dunk here. I think you got to hit that line before it moves too much. I'm gonna nail that probably today or tomorrow. Moving on, we got Ivana Petrovic versus Luana Carolina. Petrovic, I believe this is making her debut. She is 6-0 with 5 finishes. Always good to see. And straight disclosure, I think Luana Carolina is fucking terrible. I think she's terrible, like awkward striker. Sure, she's lengthy, lanky, whatever. She has long limbs. She can use those weird jabs and kicks. She looks extremely goofy. She's looks like the goofiest fighter you've ever seen in your life. I can never pick her. I'm going to go with the 6-0 with 5 finishes, Ivana Petrovic. And it's not even based off what I've seen her do. It's based off what I've seen Luana Carolina do. There's no way I would ever put my money on Luana. So I got Petrovic. What do you think?
One of Carolina's claim to fame is that fight against Lupi Godinez that she beat her. And yeah, I mean, I can't get behind Luana Carolina. I like the over here, but I don't actually like the over here. I don't know about Petrovic. There's a lot of unknowns. Like you said, Luana Carolina has shown so many holes in her game. Petrovic looks to be like she's a very good fighter, a little well-roundedness, but again, she hasn't faced the competition in the UFC and all that jazz experience, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, minus 210 on a newcomer is tough to. You pass this fucking fight anyway. I think unless you have some sort of lead because you know about Petrovic. Unless you know about Petrovic, then pass this fight. But minus 210 on a woman that you don't know is kind of fucking throwing your money away. But I'm leading Petrovic anyway. And I'll probably throw her in a parlay and throw my money away. But it's all good.
All right, moving on. This fight's actually the only fight I don't see on Bet365, so I don't know if this is a new matchup or not, but I see Nursultan Ruziboev versus Bruno Ferreira. I don't know if this is a new matchup or what, but I don't see any odds on this fight. But I'm going to go with Ferreira, who is undefeated. Nursultan has a ton of experience, a huge record, and he's got that OEV last name, so I'm sure he can wrestle. I'm sure he's a good grappler. But I guess I'm going to roll Ferreira. Honestly, I'm not going to bet this. I'm not even going to try to try to lie here. I haven't seen any tape on Nurselton, so I don't know what I'm getting out of him. I just know that he's experienced. I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to try and lie to you guys. This fight's a pass until I see more. On our next episode, Thursday, I'll give you guys an update on this one. But do you have anything on this fight?
Well, Nurselton, yeah, the experience is there, but it's against low competition. Bruno Ferreira, in his one fight in the Dana White Contender Series, in his one fight in the UFC, he's already faced better competition than this guy ever would. And Bruno Ferreira is a fighter. I actually had him against RoboCop in his first fight. Like you're not a big fan of RoboCop, but RoboCop,
I said this guy by knockout. I said he was
yeah,
going to knock out RoboCop.
yeah, you did, and I played him by knockout. And if you're gonna play him, you could probably play him by knockout here too. But I gotta take a look into more of like, I don't have his sheer dog page up. How Nurselton loses his fights. It's a good stat for me. I look it up in sheer dog. So if it's mostly decisions, I don't know what Ferreira looks like going past 2 rounds, 1 round, right? You know what I mean? That's always a red flag with heavyweights. You don't know what the gas tank's going to be. So does Nurselton take the beating and take him into deeper waters? Or is he got a shitty chin because he's only lost 8 times out of 40 fights, right? So it's not in my bet. Yo, if our betting record was 32-8, we'd be fucking real happy, right? So like, what the fuck, right? So that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, I gotta do a little bit more in Nurselton, figure out what's going on. But right now, I'm gonna take Ferreira by knockout because that's his mode of winning most of the time.
I think even the bookies are like us. Like even they don't know how to set the line. I don't think there's enough tape on this guy. I don't think anybody knows, and that's why there's no line out on this fight. I think everybody's trying to see where the hell do we set this line at. Like there's no tape.
Yeah, it's true.
So we'll see. We'll update that on Thursday. Moving on, we got Benoit Saint Denis versus Ismail Bonfim. Really good fight. This is a classic grappler versus striker, and this is actually a really good test for Ismail here because his 3 losses are all by submission, and Benoit Saint Denis has a ton of submission wins. So we're gonna see if Bonfim has closed that weakness up. I do like Bonfim here. I do like him to score probably a knockout, to be honest, but it's a good test. At least he's fighting against something he's had a weakness with in the past. So it should be an interesting fight. He's a -250 favorite. That's probably right, to be honest. I mean, is Benoit Saint Denis way better than Terrence McKinney? I don't know. I mean, probably has a better chin, I guess, but I don't know if he's really going to be stronger or a better wrestler and be able to use that grappling. I don't know. It'll be interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, Bonfim's a good striker, man. I was watching some tape on him. He does have a takedown defense in his 2 fights of 100%, but Benoit Saint Denis in his 3 fights have a takedown defense of 85%. So, I mean, if this fight is like negated in the takedown defense department and it's going to be a stand-up war or whatever, I feel Bonfim has the advantage in a stand-up fight for sure, right? So that's where I stand on it. Both guys have great takedown defense. I feel like this is going to stand up, and I feel like Bonfim has the better striking. Now, he's finished both of his fights spectacularly, the last one for sure. Now, we don't know what his gas tank is. We know that Saint Denis is a fucking tough son of a bitch from the beating he took with Lipski de Santos. But the problem is he's took that beating from Lipski de Santos there. He took the beating, right? So he leaves himself open to get hit by a good striker because de Santos is a good striker, right? So I would say Bonfim is a good striker. So now he's going to leave openings for him. Is Bonfim going to take advantage of it? Is he not going to take advantage of it? Those are the red flag questions that you have to go with. But what I think is this fight stays on the feet and Bonfim will win a striking battle. If I'm wrong about his gas tank, then he'll get exposed in this fight because Saint Denis is a tough son of a bitch.
Oh, if it stays on the feet, Bonfim should roll here, to be honest, if it stays on the feet.
Well, I mean, that's what their takedown defense numbers say, but Bonfim it's 2 and 3 fights respectively, right? So not a huge fucking sample size.
True. All right, moving on. We got Griffin versus Michael Morales. This is an interesting fight. Morales, obviously, he's undefeated. He's a hot prospect, but this is a pretty big step up in competition. Max Griffin has been in there with everyone, and his fights are always close, like always, whether it's Carlos Condit, whether it's whoever he's in there with. He just has a way of making it a very close fight. So this is a striker versus a striker. I don't really see much of this fight hitting the ground, really. So in a striker versus striker contest, do I want the veteran experience of Max Griffin or do I want the undefeated prospect in Morales? My choice is going to be over. I think this fight's going to go over 1.5. Max Griffin fights generally go pretty long. I don't think there's going to be a knockout here. If there is, it's going to be late in the fight. So conservatively, over 1.5, maybe over 2.5 or fight to go the distance. I will lean with the undefeated prospect, but honestly, Max Griffin's live. I think like if the line grows, maybe he's worth a stab here, but I will take Michael Morales in a stand-up fight. What do you think?
Yeah, well, Max Griffin's he's actually employed wrestling in his last couple fights, to be honestly with you. He beat Tim Means barely. That was a split decision, lost to Neil Magny. That one I thought he actually won. So they got it right, essentially. Condit, Kanan, Brahimaj, these are guys that aren't Marco Morales' standard. Morales now, he actually carries that power all the way to the third round because he's got a third round finish against Adam Fugit there. He stayed on him. And he went unanimous decision against Nikolai Vertanov, or whatever his damn name is, in Dana White Contender Series. He also owns a win over Trevin Giles. So Trevin Giles, as much as all the deficiencies Trevin Giles has, is a damn good fighter, right? So I don't think that Max Griffin, I mean, Trevin Giles is better than Tim Means. Maybe not Neil Magny. Maybe he is better than Neil Magny. He's pretty much on the same level as Neil Magny. So Morales' takedown defense is 86%, so this is going to be a stand-up, or unless Morales wants to take Griffin down. Griffin has shown to tire, and Morales keeps his power, looks like, all the way through the fight. So I think he's the real deal. I'm gonna go with Michael Morales. I don't have the odds up. Do you have odds in this fight?
Griffin's plus 170, Morales minus 200.
That's fair enough. If you believe in the hype train, go with Morales. I think he's the hype. I think he's the real deal, along the lines with like Tuporia. Yeah, I believe the hype.
All right, sounds good. Moving on, we got Ariane Lipski versus Melissa Gatto. Gatto is the way more well-rounded fighter. She's the more finishes, so probably the more dangerous fighter as well. Lipski started off terrible. Like a few fights ago, I would have had zero confidence in her. Like I thought she was useless. Last fight, you know what? She showed a good pace. She showed decent striking, much improved, I guess. And I think that's reflected in the line here because the line is fairly close. We got Lipski coming in at plus 130, and you got Gatto minus 160. I'm gonna lean Gatto absolutely. Like I said, more well-rounded. She can bring some of the ground game. Use that. She has more tools. She's a more well-rounded fighter. I like Gatto. I like that she finishes fights. But I don't think this fight's gonna get finished though. Lipski's pretty tough for all her holes. So I like the over. And if the line moves a lot, you know what? Even minus 160 is not too bad. I like the over. Women's fight, I wouldn't go crazy. And I like Gatto's well-roundedness. What do you think?
Yeah, so they both have about takedown defense about 70%. So this could stay on the feet. But Lipski, I don't know, man. Like I saw her against some other, like it's what version of Lipski shows up, right? Is it the version that is up against Priscilla Cachoeira and loses, or Montana De La Rosa? She's getting finished by Cachoeira, De La Rosa, Antonina Shevchenko. Girls that suck. She beat Mandy Baum. JJ Aldrich, that was weird as hell. She outpaced JJ Aldrich. Maybe because JJ got absolutely no ground game, right? You know what I mean? Lost to Joanne Wood, which is pretty much, that's right. So, yeah, man, I don't know. Lipski, it's like she's such a versional fighter, you know what I mean? So, like, one day she'll come out like last fight and look like she's unbeatable against JJ Aldrich, but JJ Aldrich is also shown to be a fraud at some points in her career too, right? So Melissa Gatto, was a fucking monster against Tracy Cortez in that last fight. You know what I mean? They both didn't strike. This was ground game versus ground game, and by the stats, Melissa Gatto had 3 takedowns versus Tracy Cortez's 2 takedowns. That in itself was a win in that fight. Tracy Cortez is a very good wrestler, right? She wins all her fights by wrestling, and she out wrestled the wrestler, lost a split decision, like 29-28. She looked good. It actually went up. It made me think more about her stock. She finished Sajara Eubanks. What would you think about Sajara Eubanks versus Ariane Lipski, right? Like, think about that kind of fight. So, yeah, I don't know what version of Lipski is going to show up. Like you said, Gatto's more well-rounded and shows up to fight all the time, not some of the time.
How do you like Melissa's striking? Like, if this fight was 100% on the feet, the way Lipski looked last fight, I know it's JJ Aldridge. It's not like she outstruck a crazy striker, but she did look pretty good on the feet. She
Oh,
looked
it was a
decent on the
good
feet there.
striking output. It was 100 and something to 50, man. It was a
That's what I'm saying.
fucking.
So if this fight was on the feet, who do you like on the feet?
I don't know. She won with that body kick Gatto against fucking Eubanks, so she must carry a little bit more power. And you got to remember, didn't Lipski get her nose broken by Miranda Maverick? Because Miranda Maverick's I hate her.
You loved her. I got you off of the Miranda Maverick.
Man, she fucked me over so many times. I fucking hate her now. But yeah, anyways, whatever.
Yeah, Gatto's the better fighter here. Gatto is the better fighter. If she uses the wrestling and she can get the takedowns, she's gonna roll. She's gonna roll here.
Let's put it this way: if she fought this fight like she fought her last fight against Tracy Cortez, who also has a pretty good takedown defense, so this was, if you're putting her up against that, then yeah, I think she wins for sure. Say same sort of fight. If she has that same sort of game plan, for sure. Lipski, I don't know. The queen of violence.
All right, moving on. We got the co-main event. We got Damir Ismagulov versus Grant Dawson. Classic striker versus grappler. And for me, honestly, and I'm a big Damir fan. I like the guy, but for me, if I'm playing an underdog on this card, I'm playing Grant Dawson. He's probably my dog of the card. He's my favorite dog. I don't even know if he should be the dog because Ismagulov has been taken down many times. He does pop back up. He doesn't get submitted from what we've seen, but he gets taken down a lot. And he's been held down. I mean, Arman's a hell of a wrestler. I get that. But 9 minutes and a half out of the 15-minute fight, he was completely controlled. So I don't think it's crazy to say Grant Dawson can't do the same thing. Man, it pains me because, like I said, I like Ismagulov. I like him. But you know what? I'm playing Grant Dawson, and I hope Ismagulov, I hope he grows. And I'm going to take Grant Dawson to grapple fuck him here. Will he choke him out? Probably not. But I think he can grind a decision. I think he can. Give me Grant Dawson as the underdog, and I'm not going to hit him yet, though. I'm going to hope this line grows. What do you think?
Well, Ismagulov, even in all his wins there, he's only getting about anywhere between 70 and 80 significant strikes. So it's not like he's like this crazy volume power puncher of any sort, right? You know what I mean? And Grant Dawson, let's be honest, the only fight he ever looked bad in was the last round of that Ricky Glenn fight. Other than that, he's been pretty decent. You know what I mean? What I like about Dawson is that he pushes the ground game, right? Like he always is pushing the ground game, never tries to stay too much in the striking realm, but he will strike with you. But his striking is pretty low. He was at 3.12 strikes per minute versus Damir's. Damir's only at 3.78 strikes per minute, landed per minute. So they're pretty close there. The takedown and accuracy and defense looks really bad, but like I said, Grant Dawson is a chain wrestler. More than 5 or 6 occasions, he says multiple takedowns, and then he always fights for a sub too, right? So I don't know if Ismagulov has he ever fought a ground fighter after Ricky Glenn's draw because he lost that last round after dusting him in the first 2 rounds. He's taken down Jared Gordon 7 times. And Marco Madsen, I believe is the Olympic wrestler, he took him down twice and made him look like foolishness.
Madsen's not very good, though. I know he's the Olympic wrestler. He's not very good.
Yeah, but wrestlers suck on their back anyway, right? So they got to use that wrestling in reverse if you want to do that, right? I told you like 2 weeks ago I was gonna pick Grant Dawson. I said, "Oh, I really like Dawson at plus odds." You know what I mean? I said it 2 weeks ago. We were looking over cards one night, and yeah, my position hasn't changed. I'm actually stronger on the Dawson. If you know, the one red flag is that gas tank that one time he red flagged me. So other than that, he's fought for my dollar every fucking time I've put money on him. So Grant Dawson's my pick.
And if you want like a slam dunk conservative pick, it's going over the halfway mark, over the 1.5 for sure. There's no way Dawson's finishing him quickly. And as good of a puncher as Ismagulov is, he's not
Uh,
like he's not a huge knockout guy. He's
no.
just good, clean, straight striking. So over for sure. And I like the dog. I hope he grows. I'm not hitting it yet, but we
Yeah.
both like Grant Dawson as I think your underdog of the card. What do you think?
That's on one of my better picks of the card, to be honest with you. I actually, along with what do we say, the two favorites, Gurum and either Renat or somebody else. That's some good value there. And then you get to wait till the co-main event to hit your ticket. So that'd be nice, right? That's ain't so
Yeah.
bad.
For sure. All right, moving on. We got the main event. It's kind of a strange one. We got Sean Strickland versus Avis Magomedov. Weird because we don't know a whole lot of Magomedov because he's only fought 4 times in the last 5 years. He's got about 6 canceled fights in the last 5 years. Like, it seems like every time this guy has a fight booked, it's canceled. So it's a lot of red flags. Obviously he's got that OV last name. You'd think he's going to be a good grappler, a good wrestler, but Sean Strickland, he just has a way of not getting taken down and making people fight his fight. And his fight is going to be, he's going to jab you up. He's going to beat you up on the feet. He doesn't throw wild, huge looping punches. He throws straight punches with actually a pretty quick pace that makes people uncomfortable. He kind of walks you down and likes to just jab you up, and it's effective. It's not the most pleasant to watch. Like a lot of the times, his fights, almost all the time, they're almost always over. They're almost always going to decision, and he just makes you uncomfortable while you're in there the whole time. So Strickland minus 170. I think that's pretty good value because, I mean, sure, Magomedov might have a ton of hype behind him at home. There might be a lot of shit people think they know about him, but he's not proven. The fact is, he's not proven in the UFC. He hasn't fought anyone of Sean Strickland's level, in my opinion. And I mean, can he do it? Maybe. We don't know. I don't know him, but my money's going to be on Sean Strickland to make this guy very uncomfortable and do what Sean Strickland does. So I like the over, and I like Sean Strickland to win. And I think minus 170 is not bad, unless I'm missing something crazy here. Like I feel pretty damn good about Sean Strickland. And I think Sean Strickland beat Cannonier personally. And look how good Cannonier looked last week. He looked amazing. So I like Sean Strickland here. Am I missing something? What do you think?
Well, that version of Cannonier would have beat Sean Strickland too, right? So let's just put it that way. But
Yeah.
anyway, I mean, you're not missing anything. Yo, well over 150 significant strikes on a regular basis. We don't know anything about Abus. We know nothing. You look at his UFC stats, it's so zeros. He dusted the guy Stolfus, I believe, in like 20 seconds, right? So you can absolutely take. Is he going to dust Sean Strickland in 20 seconds? Like aside from, there's two people that knocked out Sean Strickland in like my recent memory. One was Alex Pereira, and I feel like Sean didn't respect his power, right? You know what I mean? If he was a little bit more like defensively sound in that fight, he didn't respect his power. And I think the other time was Zaleski DeSantos back in the day. He got knocked out like a while back. But yeah, I mean, pace and quad, like you got to go with your nobles here. What do you know? Sean's going to bring a pace. Sean's going to bring an okay chin. You're going to get over 150 ish significant strikes, and you're going to get a long fight. All things that are red flags to new fighters. We don't know if Abus can handle that pressure. You don't know if he can handle that length, and you don't know if he can handle that quantity of strikes. You know nothing. Like this is a find out fight about Abus, and you're gonna go with the known quantity in Strickland. I might look at regional tape, a little bit more regional tape on Abus, but I feel like regional tape is just fucking bullshit anyway, right? You're looking at him in fights that his manager picks that he should win anyway, right? So like, fuck that
Everybody
shit.
looks like a killer in those fights.
Like, fuck that shit. Like, I'm gonna look at his one fight. I know Stolfus is a fucking idiot. So like, yeah, there's a lot of red flags. I'm gonna go with the known commodity in Sean Strickland. I know what he brings: quantity, a decent chin, and he has the cardio. But he's such a dick in real life. But
One thing he is he's consistent, man. Honestly, he fights the same every time. Like you don't have to worry about him doing something weird. He fights the same way every fucking time, and he's effective at it. So, yeah.
not much else I have to say about anything on this card.
All right, sounds good. Guys, these are our early predictions. Like I said, the odds were just dropped. It's very early. We have 3 or 4 days before Thursday. We're going to watch a lot more tape, and we are going to give you our updated confident bets. So this is strictly our breakdowns and early predictions. They seem spot on right now for me, but like I said, we're going to watch some tape on some of these other fighters, and we will give you our updated bets on Thursday. So like and subscribe. We'll see you Thursday, and we'll lock in our bets. Have a good one.